So, hi, my name is Zach,
And I'm Chris.
and our project is called Body Defenders, Heroes Inside us all, sorry. So, Body Defenders is a tower defense game that is based with the intention to demonstrate how the body fights off illnesses and infections that are entering our body, and also giving us some sort of tangential learning about how our immune system works at the same time.
To get some information about the game and like how the design will go through and the target audience, I actually took a survey recently and I got almost 1,500 people who took it, and later on I'll discuss the results of that.
To start, we started with the survey. We wanted to know exactly how much time people put into online gaming and specifically what genres of gaming they would do on their phones or online. So we created the survey and we released it.
So we found when we were doing this, we had started off with an idea. Some people might have seen it, Osmosis Jones, similar to like doing a GTA educational thing where you explore inside the body. But for this short amount of time we have, that takes a long time to create, so we weren't able to do that. We also were talking about something similar to Plague, where it shows the virus manipulation. Finally, we've settled on this because it's easier since you can have a description for the tower which describes different body immune system aspects, and then the enemies are just simply going to be illnesses, viruses, bacteria, foreign entities in the body.
You would be able to control different portions of your body, such as the spleen, the lymph system, and the bone marrow, being able to upgrade and control specific tasks that they would do to help defend your portion of the body. These maps could be themed around all sorts of organs in the body, from the small intestine to the heart, and how you defend these could differ from how the enemies move in that portion, whereas the heart might have the enemies pulsating in and out as the heart beats, to where it's just steadily moving through the small intestine.
So what we were looking for and hoping to see with this is whenever you play a video game, you learn it to an aspect because you want to find the best strategy to win the game. So personally, when playing games, some people might learn things that they don't necessarily know that they learned yet until it is brought up. So with the towers having a certain description saying, oh, that the tonsils help provide antibodies which help fight against like the common cold, which could be an enemy, and you would use that tower more often against that type of enemy, which could coordinate with the color of blue because it's just in a beta phase. So you can simply have that, and someone's going to be like, okay, these antibodies fight this enemy, and they'll actually learn it because depending on the amount of time they spend on it.
Yeah, so through this learning, which is called tangential learning, they will eventually get more understanding and be able to understand, they'll learn the vocabulary and how it works in the body. So they get these correlations, and then they're more understanding in conversation. They hear the words said in class and they're like, hey, I know this from the game that I'm playing. And I'm sure we've all had that moment where some sort of media that you love has said something, and then later you're learning something, you're like, hey, I already know this from the games or the movies I watch.
The future plans we wanted to have with this is it's going to be something educational. So of course you can all this is supposed to teach biology, so everything's able to be marketed towards teachers. But these companies actually make tower defense games, and they could expand on the idea. So if you contact them or whatnot, we contact them, they can give us ideas of where we can go, or might even team up with us and with their set of developers. Ninja Kiwi actually made the Balloon Tower Defense games, and they currently have 5, and then they have Balloon City, and they have a bunch of other spin-off type deals. So they would be a really good company to help with. And the other 3 are actually the top 4 on the App Store right now for the Android. So these are actually the survey results. So you guys might have seen it if you were on Green Teams or whatnot. So if you look down here on the right chart, it actually says how many people were surveyed as of now. The survey is still open. It's probably going to be open all throughout the semester. So I just had some broad categories that I've made, and it shows the percentages. So if you look, it shows that role-playing games, adventure games, strategy games, and shooters are actually the top. But it doesn't mean that tower defense games aren't as played. It just means that there aren't enough new ones that people might not have the interest. People still play Balloon Tower Defense 5, but not as many people. So this shows how many hours a week you play, and which this ties into the tangential learning type field. If you're only playing it for an hour a week, you might not learn it as fast as somebody who might play it 10 to 20 times a week. You'll still learn it, but you have to work around your schedule. You can't always spend like the 11% who answered 50 plus hours a week. We're college students, and I know this. We don't have 50 hours a week plus.
Some do. Some do use their 50 hours on that.
But that's a little bit excessive. And for the
Yeah. And again, with the tangential learning, it's just number of times over. The more they do it, the more certain they will become with the vocabulary and the knowledge that is presented in the game.
it takes 7 times of repeating something to actually learn it. So because you're not actually saying it, you're doing it. It's going to take you a little bit longer, but within 1 hour, you might already know the strategy of what everything does and how it interacts with each other. You could, if you don't know it, you could actually incorporate like an encyclopedia type deal on the bottom and shows the enemies and the description of what their weaknesses are.
That's part of the game?
Yes. It's the plan of what I want to have into the game.
Right.
And the third question was just the age groups, because you want to know what your target audience is. If you're not going to market it to 55 and up people, you're not going to advertise AARP to 10-year-olds. You want to know what your target is. So the actual target is going to be between 10 to 34. And there are a few outliers here, but I know some of the people who did that. They didn't understand this question, and they accidentally clicked that. So that's just an outlier in this. And then these are all of our sightings of where we got our information about the body and whatnot.
Questions?
Right in the back.
Courtney.
Okay, sorry.
She's having fun.
You guys are playing targeted like my fun sphere. 2 things. I could actually see how this could be more a combination of multiple genres. I know you're going for like a tower defense, but you're also talking possible strategy and
Well, tower defense is strategy.
well, yes, I already identified them as separate.
I separated them just so people would see that people do play tower defense, because
Yeah.
I had people who had the issue of, what is Pokemon Go? Where does Pokemon Go fit on it? I would say it's an adventure game, but then you have to have a strategy as well to throw the Pokeball and how to do it, when to use the raspberry. So it all varies, so everything's going to interlap anyway. But for this, it was just to show people still play that and they identify it as that.
In this case, I think strategy meant more of a puzzler.
Yeah. And in this, my other question was, how does, I know you're identifying the organs as potentially the towers, however, where does the white blood cells and lymph system get into this?
They may be specialized towers that could either run alongside certain lanes, doing
Or would you
damage.
just combine with, say, a soldier game with your white blood cells being, like,
Well,
I'm just
The
thinking.
actual lymph system is actually sends out and like different things to actually stop the bacteria and viruses, and then it sends out another thing. I think it was called like a lymphocyte or something like that, and that actually destroys the viruses. So it takes 2 different parts of that for it to do it.
Yeah.
So the one could be a different tower, but the one could be simply like a freeze type tower or like a glue gun or something like that.
But how do you include allergies?
That's something we're still working on.
You guys might have said this, but I have 2 quick questions. One is, did you plan on doing a design or a final product by the end? And second is, what platforms will this be built for?
Well, we are planning on getting a working beta out, maybe not a full game, but the platform would be probably more his question.
Yeah. So right now I have to do more research on that. I currently have an actual like beta game of it already in Unity. So it actually has the enemies, so they're able to move down. The towers are a little bit more tricky for me to make because I got to get each individual piece. You would actually know more about that than I would. But it could be more for a mobile. It just depends on how big the game is because of the processing power that it's going to require. So I'm not done with it yet. So probably more of a mobile app and just see what people do with it.
Have
Any
you
more
guys,
questions?
yeah, have you guys considered doing like a Clash of Clans kind of deal? Because I could see that you guys could just infect other bodies, and defend your own.
That's
Also
another
very
idea,
solid.
but I tried to turn off of a lot of ideas like that because I just wanted to have something to show at the end of the semester, hey, we did this. It's another idea we could possibly have done. Like we didn't do the osmosis drone CTA type deal on the body just because it was so vast and it takes more time than the time we had.
You also use this GTA San Andreas as a baseline.
We could. It would be a great idea.
After the poster presentation, you can proceed on for your next class and make it expanded into
Yeah.
something that they have.
Yeah.
That would be
As long as you have the save
Yeah.
file, you always can edit it to whatever
Right,
you
yeah.
need, and that could be, because we're already gonna have a base, we could market that as,
So where are you in terms of your work on this,
Um,
at this point? What can we see at the end of this?
what you're gonna be able to see is you're gonna be able to see a working interaction between the towers and the enemies and how they actually are gonna be able to work together. I don't
You
know.
can show that in a computer already by then?
Yeah, like I said, I would have had some pictures of it working, but apparently my computer deleted Unity, so I had to re-download it, so I wasn't able to get any of my work off of it for the PowerPoint. So the only thing that I don't think is gonna probably be in there is going to be probably the encyclopedia type Joe I was discussing, that shows the interactions of it. I think it's gonna be harder to do than what I'm actually able to do, because I'm not familiar with Unity or coding.
That's fine. So you can have your, again, the dramatic representation of how the game is put together and all that, and you can have your laptop as a demo for if you have your towers and whatnot that you can actually show to the audience. That would be awesome. All right, any other questions? No? All right.